Y'all, it is gonna be Cowboy summer. Okay, so I do not normally read romances, which if you are on this channel, you probably noticed, and I'm so sorry if the car is loud. I'm trying to also speak loudly, but it is quite hot outside, so needed the heat or the air on. But it's Cowboy summer. I don't normally read romances, but I have been craving a cowboy romance so badly this last week and a half, and I finally caved and I talked to a friend who reads a lot of romance. I was like, I'm craving cowboy romance, and she's like, bet. So we the two of us, and then two other friends, and possibly a fifth, fourth, possibly one other, are going to be reading one of these together, and then the rest I'm going to be reading. I did the first in a bunch of different series, and I thought I would read the first in each of these series, give it a taster. So I will say I am technically in the middle of reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, but I'm taking a break to start Cowboy Summer. So I got Holding the Reins by Paisley Hope. It says a woman returns to her family's ranch after a broken engagement and finds herself falling for her brother's best friend. So there's that one. That's the first in the Silver Pine series. And then I did Wild Love by Elsie Silver. She's been driving him wild for years. The good kind of wild, the bad kind of wild. Billionaire romance, I think? Maybe? I don't know. I think it is cowboy still, yeah. Cowboy adjacent at the very least. This is the one we're all going to be reading, which is Flawless, also by Elsie Silver. He is a professional bull rider, and she is his agent's daughter. So this is the one I'm going to be starting tonight. And again, I don't read a lot of romance, so I'm going to try to put myself in the romance mindset, because I'm like feeling like I want it. I just don't normally read it, so I don't know how I'm going to like actually react to it, if I'll be able to take it seriously. I'll be able to enjoy it, but I am looking forward to it. I think I can probably get like 50 pages a day, honestly, is if not more. It's going to be quick reading. And then this is the one I'll probably read next, Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I love these covers. If it'll, yeah, there we go. I just love how vintage they look. They look so fun. Small town brothers best friend romance. And then the last one, also by Elsie Silver, Off to the Races. This one, actually, almost of the three Elsie Silver, I'm most excited for this one. I would do this one first of the Elsie Silvers if we weren't doing Flawless. As it grew, he's never had problems keeping things professional with his employees until she waltzed onto his property. They all look like a lot of fun. I'm quite excited for them. Like I said several times now, I just don't typically read romances. Or when I do, it's very, very specific things. So it'll typically be queer historical romances if I'm reading romance. Although I do read romantasy. And I could like a good romance. I don't know why I've been craving cowboys. I was a horse girl as a kid, so it could have something to do with that. We're gonna start this when I get home, and I was just thinking it would be fun to kind of vlog Cowboy Summer and keep you updated, since it is really new territory for me. So the full description of Flawless. This is the first in Chestnut Springs series. The rules were simple.
Keep his hands off his agent's daughter and stay out of trouble, but now he's stuck with her. There's only one bed, and, wow, rules are made to be broken. Rhett Easton is the face of professional bull riding, the golden boy. Or at least he was until it all blew up in his face after a public brawl. Now his agent says he has to clean up his image and fix Rhett with his ball-busting daughter for the rest of the season as full-time supervision. But Rhett doesn't need a goddamn babysitter, especially one with skin-tight jeans, a sexy smirk, and a mouth she can't stop running. A mouth he can't stop thinking about. And he quickly learns that Summer Hamilton isn't just another conquest. She sees the man behind the mask, and she doesn't run, she pulls him closer, even when she shouldn't. Summer says this means nothing. Rhett says this means everything. She says there are boundaries she shouldn't cross. That Rhett's reputation he can't take any more hits, and neither can her damaged heart.
Rhett says he's going to steal it anyway. So we'll see. I hope I like it. I really hope I like it. We're going to be rating, as I go through these, I'm going to be ranking them on cowboy vibes. So if it's vibing with what I am craving. If it is cute. And if it is smutty. And then I guess also if it's well written. That kind of stuff. But I'm more interested in those other three for this like experiment I'm doing. Gonna get home and probably just get started right away. I don't know why I wouldn't. 100 pages into Flawless, and I don't like it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not enjoying it. I really want to. So I'm not. I'm not a big romance reader, right? But I really wanted a good cowboy romance. And I know he's a bull rider, but that is close enough for me to be happy. And it is just not good. So I really wanted a good romance, and I was very much 100% willing to go into this with like good faith and all that, but it is not enjoyable. So what it's about is Rhett is a bull rider. He's 30 something, so he's been doing it for a long while. He's kind of been doing it longer than most people stay in the game because it's a very dangerous sport, and it's also a sport that ends up leaving people with a lot of injuries, which he does have a lot of injuries that still give him grief, and he takes like painkillers and all this stuff, which could have been interesting, but so far has really just been explored on a very surface level exploration, which I think is a major shame, because that would have led to it being more interesting for his character and for the plot. I'm not saying it has to go dark, like I just need more depth to everyone, including Rhett and Summer. And he pisses off Big Milk by saying he doesn't like milk and it's caught on camera, and it's a big deal. So Big Milk drops him, and then while this is all like going down, a paparazzi guy like gets up, is like, you owe your fans a statement. I don't know why. I'm trying to think of like, I guess if I don't follow celebrities that typically do endorsements like that. I guess if like Taylor Swift had been sponsored by, I don't know. I guess if Taylor Swift had been sponsored by Big Milk and she came out, or it came out that she fucking hated milk, I wouldn't feel offended. I would not feel like she was a hypocrite. It's just a sponsorship. When was this written? Also, it's not like a moral sponsorship, right? Like no one, I don't think I expect, 2022, it was self-published. I don't expect sponsorships to be like a moral indictment. If someone is sponsored by a company that is like known to be a problem, right? That would be different, but like Big Milk. So things are going poorly for him, so he's lost his major sponsorship and people think he's a piece of shit now. And Summer is the daughter of his agent, and she is interning or I'm not 100% sure. I don't think she's interning, but she works with interns occasionally, because I think, what's his name, George, who's like online, is an intern. Anyway, basically she's like, Rhett sounds like he needs a babysitter, and her dad's like, sounds like a great idea, I'ma have you do that. Which, fine, that's the setup. That could be cute, that could be fun. She wants him to do something and behave a certain way, and that's not really how he behaves. I see the tension, I understand where that comes from, I get it, I could get invested in that. Here's the problem, is that there is like almost no tension. We're told there's tension, but we're not really shown there's tension. Every single conversation they have had at this point, first of all, the dialogue is terrible. It's really bad. It feels like no human speaks this way ever at all. Interactions like this are fake. It feels like rough draft dialogue that you write out and then you go back and you fix up to be not only how individual characters sound, to give them distinct sounds to how they speak, but all like cadences and stuff, but also just like how people talk, if you're not going to go that in depth, like at least how people talk, right? And it just doesn't have that. Also, like the internal thoughts feel also just not, people don't talk or think this way. So that's a problem. But every single conversation they've had has resulted in them like being fine and finding like a common ground. So there's not even like tension that is lasting, right? So that's not interesting. There's no chemistry between the two. He's like checked her out a couple times. She's checked him out a couple times. But I'm like, you're not convincing me that, I don't know, that you find each other attractive other than just saying, ooh, they're attractive. And the moments that I think is trying to do that, like he mentions that he sees like a drop of sweat roll down into her hot pink sports bra. And I'm like, but how did you feel? Like, don't just tell me that was hot. Be like, I watched that drop of sweat trickle down into her hot pink sports bra, and I had the insane wish to lean over and lick it up. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Make it feel like something. Either help me understand how you're feeling, or be more interesting. I don't know. I do know. I've just said what I meant. So that's that. Both characters alone, super boring. They have like no personalities. Side characters, super boring. I feel like every single side character feels exactly the same. The way Summer and her father talk to each other really gives me the ick. Every chapter except the first two chapters. Nope, I'm sorry, except the first chapter. Why would we do that? Every chapter except the first chapter starts with texting. And oh my god, the way that Summer and her father talk to each other is just icky to me. They just cross a lot of lines. Like, I can't at all imagine interacting with a parent this way. Like, it just crosses a line. So, okay, chapter 3. I know there are better examples. I just couldn't find it at this second. Summer says, heading out there now. Her dad says, be safe. Don't let that asshole in your pants. Am I weird for thinking that's ick? That her father said that to her? Don't let that asshole in your pants. And then Summer responds, I'm really more of a skirt gal. And then he responds with like the emoji. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. And they have like actual interactions like this. So that's not fun. There's also a lot of men in this, which I do think is probably just a romance genre trope of there being a lot of men, because the series is about the brothers, and I think brother's friend, because I think Jasper, who's just like thrown in there, I think he's got a book. I think book 2 is about Cade, the brother with a kid. Oh, the kid is so fake. The kid is so fake. The kid? The most one-dimensional of them all. But there's a lot of men and not a lot of women, and I don't like that. I get it. It's probably a romance genre thing, so I'm not like gonna like dock points or whatever, but I just don't like that. Not part of the genre I enjoy. I am really trying to go into this with good faith and with the best intentions. I really, really, really do want to like this book, and every time I open it up, I think to myself, I'll like this. I'll take it seriously. And the writing, not working for me. If this is her debut, which it might be, I am willing to let that slide a little bit. I do still plan to read the other 2 books of hers that I've picked up. I will not be continuing this series. I can tell you that. 104 pages in, I can tell you that already. I will be finishing this book because I'm buddy reading it. If I wasn't buddy reading this one, I would not be finishing this. I'd probably be DNFing it about here. But I will finish it. It's fun to talk about it with people. That's my thought so far. I will probably check in again in about 100 pages, although I can't imagine my opinion is going to change very much. So I would love for it to. I would love for this book to surprise me and be just fantastic and make me really invested in them. I would really love that. So we're going to be hoping that's what happens. Halfway, I think. Chapter 19, page 203. The thoughts, opinion is not really changed all that much. Now that we have a little bit more of Summer's backstory, I will say she's gotten more interesting. And actually, I will say at the end of chapter 18 going into chapter 19, something interesting has finally happened that does have my attention. So I'm here for that. And I am excited to see where that goes, because like when I think about this book and I pull apart the like separate pieces, I feel like one of the reasons I don't like it as much as I want to is I can like feel with these separate pieces that there's a much better story here that could be told. It's just not the story I got. I do think maybe I came off a little strong in the last update. If you like this book, I wish I could join that rank of people who like this book. I don't want to make anyone feel like it's a problematic book, because it's not. I don't think it's a problematic book. Just genuinely don't think. I know I don't like the writing, and I don't think it's because of the genre. I think I just don't like the writing, and I wish I did. I really wanted to be part of that. I will finish this in the next couple days, hopefully by the end of the week. I didn't mean to come off so strong. It's like a hater, because I'm not. It's not good for me, but it's not toxic or anything, you know. So mostly though, opinion hasn't changed at all, which is a shame. Chapter 28, page 300. I have, I think, about 50 pages left, because I'm not reading the bonus. Seen from Harvey's point of view? What? Okay, I have like 70 pages left. I have about 100. Oh god. When I last left off, I think I was like, ooh, something interesting finally happening. And then that was resolved in like a chapter, so it wasn't really that interesting, so that sucks. But chapter 27 actually did have a plot twist reveal that I did not expect, and so I will give Elsie Silver full kudos for making me actually interested in this story. She does that now twice in this book. So congrats, Elsie. This book just is not for me, y'all. I'm having a fun time because I'm buddy reading it with people, but I would have DNF'd this otherwise. And low-key would go into a deep dive in it, I think, if people were interested, because I do think it's just, I don't know if it's the tropes or the setting, but it almost gives like not full trad wife, but like trad wife aesthetic, which does make me feel not comfortable reading this. I do, however, have one major problem with it that I think is really highlighted in chapter 24, which is maybe one of the worst sex scenes I've ever read in my entire life, which is just, I wanted to like this book so much. So here's my problem, is that Summer just doesn't really think for herself. And I don't know if this is supposed to be like sexy tropey. I don't know. I don't read enough mainstream romances to know if this is a trope. So do let me know if it is, because if it is, maybe there's something to it I'm just not clicking with personally. It's giving me a little bit of ick though, because she's not really thinking for herself, by which I mean she gets a phone call from her ex. I'm trying to find the exact moment. It says it's Rob calling. In my edition, it's 2:56. So spoilers. Okay. She says it's Rob. It says it's Rob. Blah blah blah. It says Rob calling. I push up on my elbows and look over my shoulder at Rhett. Why is he calling you? I don't know, I say honestly. However, if I had to guess, it would be something to do with Rhett winking at me before and after his ride tonight. Tonight's event was broadcast, which means it's feasible that someone would have seen that. That someone being Rob, who used to give me tummy flutters when he called. But right now, regarding the lit screen of my phone in Rhett's hand, all I feel is dread. I don't want to talk to him, I say, flipping over and sitting up, pulling my towel back around myself. So, I would just like to say, she's just said, I do not want to talk to him. It opens up a jar of worms I'm not ready to show Rhett yet. I need to figure out where this is going before I go down that path and expose everything. Okay. Rhett pushes the phone at me, his face hard and unreadable. Answer it. So, already not a fan of her saying, I don't want to do this, and him not giving any wiggle room, just being like, do it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's not cocky. It's not cute. It feels like he's not letting her think for herself or make decisions, like he's the one making a decision here. And I know this is such a small moment in a small scene, but I do think it is reflective on larger things happening in this book. I quirk a brow at him, wondering if he can truly handle this.
Based on the way he flew off the handle over Emmett, my guess is no, but I'm not in the mood to argue. So I push myself up to the top of the bed to lean against the headboard and take the phone from Red's hand. So I'm not in the mood to argue. Red flag. If you don't want to do something and your partner says do it. Sorry, what was I saying? If you are not in the mood to argue and you're being pushed past something that you are comfortable doing, like if there's that line being crossed, it's not an argument, first of all, or it shouldn't have to be an argument. And not being in the mood to argue, I don't know, like there's just something about not wanting to stir the pot. Like I feel like you should be able to feel comfortable pushing back against. I don't know. I do know that's how I feel, but there's nuance to it. I'm not gonna say it's like cut and dry, this is bad. But it's a lot of this like dynamic that just doesn't work for me. I'm not in the mood to argue, so I push myself up to the top of the bed and lean against the headboard to take the phone from Rhett's hand. Without looking him in the eye, I swipe the screen to answer. Hello? Rhett flops down on the side of the bed beside me. And then she talks with Rob. So that was the interaction that really like icked me, on top of like other stuff. Actually, I'll read you another thing that kind of icked me as well. So, and then I'm not here to defend Rob. He is a douche and I do not like him, and I think he did wrong by Summer for so many reasons. However, then what happens next in the scene is Rhett then eats Summer out, which great, get that girl, but she stays on the phone with Rob. And as much as I hate Rob, he is in some ways an unwilling participant. He did not consent to be listening to this at all. You know, she's doing that thing where she's trying not to sound like something is happening. However, something is happening, and there's just something very uncomfortable about that. As someone who works in retail and has had a customer call, actually it's happened a couple times, but I've had customers call and it's very clear that they are doing something on the other end of the line. It's very uncomfortable. You know, you hang up right away as soon as you realize what's going on, but it's not fun. And it's not very, like, you know, I don't know. I do know. I've just explained it. I keep saying I don't know, but I do know. And I'm telling you what I know, which is that it's uncomfortable. And I feel like it's sort of inappropriate and crosses a line that they're doing this with Rob on the other line and him being an unwilling participant. Do I understand why the scene could be titillating? Yes, it's a romance. Romances, like fantasy, require you to sort of accept unreality, and you're playing by a different set of rules. And I think in a better written book where the characters had more chemistry and I felt more emotions over them, and like I think in a different book I wouldn't be as like nitpicky and disturbed about this sort of scene. But disliking this book and then having all of these just like little things add up, it becomes just not fun. And then here's this other line that I just need to share that is giving me the ick. I don't even think in a better written book I would have liked this. I find this in a man very off-putting. Rhett tells her, I am not possessive, I am protective. Yeah, they're coming off the same way, dude. And if you have to like define it like that, it means it's coming off as possessive. And to me, this is me. This is very much a me thing. That's not hot to me. I don't like that in a man. I don't like that in a man in a relationship where there's a power differential, whether that is a straight relationship or like a queer relationship where one has more like power over the other for some reason in the relationship. I do not like that dynamic. I think it is very exploitable and uncomfortable and just mirrors actual life. It's not fantasy for me. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I have, like I said, about 70 pages left. I'm not reading the bonus scene. I don't care about the bonus scene. I have it in good authority from another friend, though, that another one of the series that Elsie Silva wrote, is it Off to the Races? Is that the first one? That one is supposed to be very good. So I did, as you have seen this video, bought 2 other Elsie Silver books. That's one of them. I think that was one of them. That series, about booking that series. So I am going to read those other 2 Elsie Silvers. I'm not just giving up on her. I'm really banking on this book. Just wasn't for me. It doesn't have the tropes I like. It doesn't have a character dynamic I like. I really want a good cowboy romance, and I am willing to go the fucking distance about this. Gonna try to finish it. Like I said, 60 pages left. Chapter 28, I do want to give Summer a lot of kudos for not letting Rhett bulldoze over her. I actually really appreciate it. And if the book continues in this trajectory of her calling him out when he's like crossing the line and pulling some bullshit, I will maybe have like not as bad of an opinion on this book. Like, I hope so, because he needs to be called out on some of this BS. And the way it was like leading up until this point, it really just did not feel like it was going to. It felt like it was just like letting him get away with it. She addresses him quite bluntly. So good for you, Summer. So I'm gonna try and keep powering through and hopefully finish it tonight. Although I don't know if I will put all my thoughts together in video format tonight. We'll see how late it is. Okay. First of all, this is a face mask on the lower half of my face. That's why it's like looking like that. Yeah, I'm trying to take better care of my skin, but I don't, when I'm wearing glasses like in the middle of the day, I don't like to put it like above here. It doesn't matter. We just did the bottom half of my face today. But I'm going to Half Price Books later tonight to drop off some books that I no longer want. And this was in the pile, and I realized I have not given you my final thoughts on it. I finished it several days ago now, and I did not like it. I ended up rating it 1 star on Goodreads, and I'm pretty satisfied with that rating for it. I don't think it deserves more than 1 star, at least from me. I was reading other people's reviews, and I'm gonna be so honest, nothing they said in their reviews really convinced me that I am not getting everything out of it that I could have gotten out of it. I think it's very much, if you are predisposed to like these kinds of books and you like these kinds of romances, you will like this romance. It seems very much like it is firmly of its kind. I do not like the dynamics in here. I did not like the characters. I was not particularly taken with the writing, and I do have some issues with like underlying messages that I think are probably not on purpose. I don't want to say they're on accident, but I think it's just got some underlying messages that I don't like. The plot twist near the end, I was a big fan of. I think I talked about that already. I thought that was great. I almost wish that had come earlier on in the book to add complexity to the story, but this is not a very complex romance. I looked at what the other pairings were for the rest of the series, and I was like, some of these are truly crazy. How do these characters meet? I'm thinking specifically book 4, but I'm not going to continue it. I don't care. I know this is not for me. This is going to be returned. Those are my final thoughts. I'm not super vitriolic about it. I don't have unhappy feelings. I'm kind of glad I read it, because I do want to read cowboy romances, obviously, and I'm kind of glad that I gave this one a try, because I think this is one of the better well-known ones, and I'm glad I like dipped my fingers in my toes in here, and I mean, honestly, it can only go up from this point. So yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, so the group I'm reading this with, we decided that they weren't going to read other cowboy romances. Okay, that's just me. And I convinced them to read one with me. I'm so sorry. But we were all talking about buddy reading something else, and we settled on Ice Planet Barbarians. I don't have a copy of that yet, but that probably will be the next book I read for this vlog. Therefore, I'm not having a cowboy summer. I am having a cowboy and alien summer, which unironically is a film I love. I haven't watched it in years, but it's so good. So I will talk about that when I get to it. I ordered a copy, so I'm just waiting for it to come in. And yeah, there we go. We are in the depth of the summer. I wanted to share 2 other really quick updates. So these are, one of them is bookish and one of them is personal, and I wanted to share the personal one just to kind of say it and put it out there. So I'm recording this at the end of May 23rd. So the personal update, which I'll trigger warn right here, and let you know when to skip to. Unfortunately, 2 days ago, we had to make the decision to put our dog down. It was very unexpected, very sudden, and this is the second dog I've had, and therefore second one to pass away. But my previous dog had been old, and it was very much the end of his life. Was the quality of his life had decreased. But what would happen with Tank was a very different situation, and so it's been a lot harder. But he has, unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. So, if you watch his channel and you have seen vlogs and stuff, you've definitely seen him because he's in, I think, pretty much every single vlog. I even had a video dedicated to like when we got him. So he's not old. He was not old. He was 4 years old. But I did just want to say that and get it out there. And I don't want to say anything else about it. And I don't want to talk about more. And there's really nothing else to say. If you continue to watch his channel, which I hope you do, I hope you stick around, he's not going to be in any more videos. So that was the personal news. The bookish related news is to kind of deal with all that and process all that. I took a couple days off work because I wouldn't have been able to do anything, and I'm just like naturally off today. And I spent yesterday almost 7 unbroken hours deep cleaning, and I made room for a new bookcase. So I'll show you that spacing, and probably the video will go up before this one goes up. Maybe not, maybe, but I can't imagine this would go up first. But I'm going to get a new bookcase, and I would like to record myself putting the bookcase, like organizing the bookcase. So there's gonna be another third full-size bookcase here, and I'm very excited. It arrives next week because I don't have a car big enough to pick it up, but it is a Billy from IKEA with 2 extra shelves that I bought. And when I tell you, the idea of reorganizing my shelves is the most pleasant and amazing thing I can just think of doing at the moment. So let me show you that space, and then I will say adieu for a little bit until Planet Barbarians gets in. I have a feeling I will like this one a lot more than I liked Flawless. But I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm giving it to Half Price Books. Hopefully I get like $1 or $2 for it. So sometimes I do shop while I'm there, but lately, because I've been trying to clear off a bunch of stuff. I don't know if you see a lot of these. Yep, a lot of these are Bye Books. I think I might like Ice Planet Barbarians, just knowing my taste in things. So I think that one's gonna be like a lot spicier as well, which my one friend does not really like. Anyway, doesn't really like spicy scenes, but anyway, let me show you the space, and then I'll see you in probably about a week when I start that book. So this is the spacing. Actually, I should get out a little more to show you. Yes. Look at all that space. And yes, there's a lot of books. Don't mind them. So how it was is I had this bookcase here next to these, and I had this tall cubby in the corner. So the 2 cubbies were meeting in the corner, and that took up all that space. But I put the tall cubby obviously behind the smaller one, and I didn't even have to really move them. This fit in almost perfectly. I think I moved it like 2 centimeters. Like that's how little I had to move the cubbies after I had moved them there. And I cleared the space, and it's not gonna get covered at all. It cuts off right about here. Okay. So there will be this like hole, but that's okay. And yeah, there's a lot of books on the ground. Probably my piles on the ground will remain in some capacity for now. I'm thinking this case is gonna be like romantasy and light fantasy into epic, so that'll be like the gradient, although I'm not 100% certain that's how it's gonna work quite yet. Okay, I'm here editing the portion of the video I recorded of this vlog that I've recorded for Flawless, and my thoughts and all that, and completely forgot that at the beginning of all this I said that I would be rating these books on 3 specific things which were cowboy vibes, cuteness, and smuttiness. So 5 being the most or the best at it and one being the worst at it. Similar to a regular rating. Cowboy vibes. Is it hitting what I want it to hit? Is it doing the job? No. I'm gonna say like 1.5. We can be a little generous, I think, and say 2, because there is one scene where Summer rides a horse, and I actually quite liked the imagery in that scene. There were a couple bull riding scenes. However, they weren't particularly interesting to read about, and it wasn't very cowboy. So doesn't really 100% fit what I wanted out of a cowboy romance. He's much more of a celebrity than he is a cowboy. We'll say 2 because there's some. The aesthetic is not completely bereft. It did not really scratch the itch though. Cuteness? No, 0. 1 star, because I'm not going to do 0 stars. That seems unfair. I've talked a lot about my problems with this book and issues I had with this couple and just all that, and not cute. The smut, there's a couple scenes, didn't get anything out of it, so I'm also going to give the smuttiness 1 star. I was not titillated by it. I was bored and actually kind of icked out at least once. It was a couple times, but I did not like it, did not enjoy it, got nothing out of it. And yeah, so not ranking high in those categories either, unfortunately. We're really hoping the next one is better in like the cowboy category in particular. I would really like it to be higher in than like 1.5, 2. It has been acquired. Obviously can't rank this on like cowboy vibes, but I guess I guess we'll just be ranking it on how vibey it is. I wasn't planning to do aliens, you know, so I'm probably gonna start this weekend. It'll be fun to read with friends, I think. And I actually unironically love the cover. Good morning. It is time to start Ice Planet Barbarians today. Who's excited? Woo! So I'm reading this with a bunch of people have agreed to read this with me. Like, only 2 of us are romance readers. I'm not one of them. I'm not a romance reader, obviously. So I'm excited. I really do think I'm gonna like this more than Flawless, because I'm also gonna be so real. It's been a little bit now since my last update about Flawless, which was already like a couple days after I'd finished. And it was like such a silly book. Did not like it. If I didn't have other Elsie Silver books at the moment, I don't know, where's the fucking camera that my finger keeps getting in the way? Right there. If I didn't have other Elsie Silver books, oh my god, the phone. If I didn't have other Elsie Silver books already bought, I probably wouldn't. But I am still going to give those a chance. Anyway, Ice Planet Barbarians, I've heard it's like just porn. It's about a bunch of, I think, human women who end up crash landing on this planet with aliens, and each one follows a different pairing. There's 1,000 of these. I have heard that the beginning of this has some non-consensual stuff going on, but it's only at the beginning and it is not a repeated thing. And yeah, I think knowing that going in, I can suspend my disbelief basically and just roll with it. I will also say I like these covers. Sorry, I just woke up, but I like these covers. I guess my face can't be in it if it wants to focus. I mean, they're fun. I can't imagine I'm gonna read past this book in the series, but maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe I'll be so invested. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I need to know more than anything else that I've just told you. We're gonna enjoy the ride, and I will keep you updated on this cowboy and alien summer, and we're gonna have fun. I think this is gonna be probably one of the most fun books I read for this game. I am about 50 pages in, and I'll give you a full update when I hit about 100 pages, which honestly, my big thing to do today is just to keep reading, and low-key, I'm gonna try to finish it today. We'll see. But I did just actually want to also say I'm like hurrying to get all my like little tasks done this morning because I don't want to have a lot of little tasks. And also, so I'm trying a new medication, which I'm very nervous about trying in about an hour. I'm going to be taking it at 9:30 and I'm excited because if it works, that's great. But you know, like it's an antidepressant. So this is good for health, but like there's a million freaking warnings about antidepressants, you know? So we're gonna really hope it helps and it doesn't hurt. And I literally wrote out like a chart. I was like, we're gonna touch base with my mood every like 6 hours, just to make sure things are doing well. I'm glad it's Friday and I can start this on a day I'm not working. So yeah, my 2 big things today: reading Ice Planet Barbarians. I'll give you an update very soon about my thoughts because I've got some thoughts and it is so much better than Flawless though. I can tell you that right now, it is so much better than Flawless. So watching myself, seeing how I react to this new medication, and reading Ice Planet Barbarians are my two tasks today. And I'm so nervous. Not about Ice Planet Barbarians. That'll be smooth sailing. I don't feel like I'm imminent danger. All this alien wants is oral sex. Y'all, I'm enjoying the book for the most part, but Georgie's reaction to that kind of threw me. We'll talk about it in a minute. First of all, I just finished part 2. These are like the shortest parts ever. I'm on page 81 and I just found out that this much of the book is a short story. So the book itself is only 248 pages. It is quite tiny. So I think probably about a quarter of the way through, I guess. I'm not gonna do that math to know for sure. But thereabouts. What is it about? Georgie is our protagonist and she's from Florida, which she has said several times. I don't care. I don't think it's relevant. If you're trying to juxtapose, she's from Florida and now she's on an ice planet. I genuinely don't think that was necessary. She's a human on an alien planet. You didn't need the further Florida to cold climate juxtaposition. Or if you're gonna have it, you really just don't need it hit me over the fucking I don't know why it bothered me so much, but she kept being like a Floridian. Oh my god, Georgie, I get it. Also, Georgie is the most British name ever, so I did expect her to be British and not from Florida. She is abducted by a group of, or by a bunch of aliens. It's like 2 groups. She calls them the basketball headed aliens, not because they have like round heads, but because they're like orange, I believe, and like textured like a basketball, and then green ones as well, I believe. And she joins a group of, I don't know if they said how many women, I'm picturing about a dozen, maybe a little more, who have all been abducted, and they've been like tagged kind of, and they're kept in cages and punished with violence if they're allowed. One of the girls has a translator that was implanted. And then there are also a bunch of women who are in like stasis chamber type things that are there as well. So they're not aware of what's going on. Or at least we don't know if they're aware of what's going on. Probably not, but they're in like stasis. So Georgie and these women are being transported somewhere, and Georgie's like, we need to try to escape. We have to try to fight back. Like, she sees what happens when you fight back. You're assaulted. But she's like, if we all work together, maybe we can fight it. They come up with a plan, and Georgie's about to enact the plan, or starts enacting the plan, when something is happening. And the spaceship they're on crashes. Kind of. They either crash, or I think actually what happened is like the container with them, the cargo, was deployed. So they're gonna like drop the women and come pick them up at a later time. And they're dropped on this ice planet. And Georgie, she's hurt her wrist, and because she's kind of a go-getter and a little bit of a leader, they're like, see if you can find food or water or something, because they don't have resources. So she goes trying to find that. And while she's searching, she runs into Vectel. Doesn't know what she is, who she is. They don't speak the same language. They're aliens to one another. And so he takes her back to a cave. So Vectel immediately has this like internal resonance thing where he's like, this is my mate, this is my soulmate. She's destined to be with me. I would like to fuck her. I would like to be with her. She's mine. That kind of stuff. He starts like eating her pussy. That's what she wakes up to. And she's not nearly as freaked out as she should be, in my opinion. And right now, she's trying to convince him to take her, or she's kind of basically already convinced him to take her back up the mountain to where the girls are, because he had been moving them away, but they don't have a lot of communication. So she basically finds a way to barter with him and be like, I will sleep with you if you take me back up the mountain to the other women. And she doesn't know he's got this like soulmate thing going on. Okay, so that's what it's about. And I'm going to assume the rest of the book is them going to the women. Hopefully, I'm guessing that translator thing is going to allow them to communicate, because if not, I'm going to get a little tired if this is like all problems with communication. I like it. I will say I actually quite like it, and I like how they're trying to communicate, and I like how that works in the book and how that's written, but I don't think I could do a whole book where they just cannot communicate, especially like a romance book where communication is kind of key. So I'm assuming they're going to go get the women and bring them back to Vectel's camp or cave system, I think. What did he call it? Then I guess acclimate, and she'll probably come to terms with like being his mate. I'm guessing that's the plot past this point. I would be shocked if anything else happens. And probably there's some tension with, will the aliens come back? The other aliens, the bad guys. So my thoughts are, I am enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it more than Flawless. I think the writing is a lot better than what we saw in Flawless. What's really great with this one is it's like thing happening. There's not a lot of time for Georgie or Vectel to dwell. We spend a little bit of time in their heads, but not very much. And I think that's actually a benefit for this kind of romance novel where there is plot to get through. And I actually like kind of the themes that we're touching on. Like I said, the communication and the way that they're trying to communicate, and the fact that they don't have a shared language, how that's written, how that is going through. I really enjoy that. I think it is done really well, and it's sci-fi. It's not like just thrown in there because like it felt like it needs to be. It felt like it's like world building. I will say the world building, it's not as in depth at all as like a sci-fi book would be, but it's not bad. It's pretty decent world building for this genre, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to read a romance with intense world building for the most part, right? Like that wouldn't be interesting if you're going into it for the romance. I also will proudly admit that I do like monster romance books. I'm all for that. Give them to me if they're well written. You know, I don't feel weird about that kind of stuff. If it's well written, it's fun to read. And I think I mentioned you kind of have to suspend your disbelief with some of these things. And consensuality territory can be a little sometimes. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief a little bit for those kinds of things. I think it's just mud. The fact that there's like the oral sex scene at the beginning, or when they meet, I should say, I'm not a fan, because it felt like crossing a line too fast. Like a couple chapters later, they see each other naked, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of, you know, consensual, non-consensual, or not, I shouldn't say it's non-consensual, but it's definitely like on that line, because, you know, they can't communicate, so consent is very hard to negotiate in this kind of situation. And I think it's, you know, fine, she's attracted to him, fine. How'd you describe his cock? I will find it for you. The fact that he like wakes her up by eating her out, and she is just like, this is pleasant, feels very inconsistent with the tone of the book and with the way she's dealt with and felt about other things that have happened to her. she doesn't have a reason to believe he's a good guy, you know? She doesn't have a reason to believe he's going to help her at all. And maybe this is going to tie into because they're like fated mates, which I will tell you, I don't fucking like the fated mates trope. I mostly hate it. There are times when I can like it, but it's, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's and I hate that trope. So, I don't like it, and I don't like it especially when it is like, oh, well, she knew she could trust him because in her soul, she knew they were fated or whatever. No, I do not like that, and I don't like her reaction to that whole scenario and just like making fun of it. It really just feels sort of out of accordance with the rest of the book. But other than that, like I said, I'm really enjoying I shouldn't say really enjoying, but I'm enjoying the writing. I am enjoying the story despite myself. And I think, again, like there's scenes like she wakes up laying next to him. Very cute. I liked that. I'm all for that. They can be fast. It can be a fast, not like insta-lovey, but like a really quick, like they're attracted to each other relationship. I'm all for that. I'm so okay with that. That's kind of why you rate a romance. You know, sometimes you want the build-up tension, and sometimes you just want the tension not to last long, and you just want the really cute scenes and the fluffy scenes and the spicy scenes, and that's okay. But let me get to the scene where they describe his cock. I'm not prepared for ridges. He's got freaking ridges on his cock. Just like the upraised texture along his chest, his brows, and his arms. He's got the bumpy, knotty ridges along the top of his cock. His very big, very thick cock. When you're reading it in your head, it's not this. And then I didn't think she said it that many times. In addition to those ridges, he has an additional one that almost looks like another horn, except it's blunted at the tip instead of sharp. Small miracle that. So, okay, he's got a textured huge cock with a bony protruding knob an inch or so above it. Is it a knot? Is that what we're looking at? Or is it something else? I guess if it looks like a horn, it's probably not a knot. Oh, a weakness of the book that I will point out is I don't feel like the women are differentiated among each other very well. Like, we have the named characters. So it was Georgie, Kira, and Liz, and Dominique. And that's fine, but I wouldn't be able to tell you which was which, just that those are the names that were mentioned. I know who Georgie is. I don't know who the other 3 are. So, yeah, that's just, I kind of wish there was more description about them to characterize them. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of time to do that, but you could do it real quick. You could be like, who wears glasses? And I would be like, wears glasses. I know what that means. That person has a distinguishing character. You know, that's all you need to do, I think, sometimes. I think one of the characters said they had red hair, but I don't know if it was a named character. Oh, maybe it was Dominique. We're gonna get back into it. A note on the medication. I think I feel fine. I think I feel fine. It's hard to say. I'm so anxious about it. I could easily trick myself into not feeling fine. I did kind of want to read outside, but I don't know now. I might just keep hanging out here and reading. I'm comfortable, so let's keep going. Okay, I did actually get up, but I've been slow reading. I've been a little bit just spending time on my phone today. But I'm gonna be so honest. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at today. And I was gonna be like, I needed this day to really see how the new medication affects me, because it's an antidepressant and there's like all these like warnings and side effects that could happen. Like there's just one fucking terrifying one that like you could start going blind. Okay. And I was like, and I just really needed this day, and I appreciate that I could give that to myself. But now I am like actually like it's like 4:30, and I'm like, the fact that I'm not incredibly upset about the way I spent today could also be a side effect of the antidepressant working. Okay, so the alien porn. I did get to the first scene, and it doesn't seem to be a knot, but it is like a clit stimulator, I guess. Cool, good for her. I'm glad they have... Well, one of the girls fucking died. She froze. I'm on chapter... I don't know. The chapters aren't numbered. That's a pet peeve of mine. Number your chapters. I'm on page 122. And one of the girls froze to death, which is dark. So I think that'll be fixed, probably. I don't imagine she's going to stay dead. But maybe. But there's like a million of these books, so I don't think you can like kill off some of these are there characters to spare? I don't know. But now Georgie has reunited with the other women, and yes, Kira's implant can understand Vectel. The sex scene though was just okay. It was fine. It didn't really excite me. So, blah. I keep thinking about how it must be to be another one of the women stranded there. One of the people you're stranded with is just in a relationship with an alien now. I don't know, like, I'd be having feelings. 150 pages in. And also, it's shorter than I even thought, because not only is it have like that huge novella, but there's also a bonus epilogue that is a million freaking pages long as well. So that's actually where the book ends. And this is all extra stuff. And no, I'm not going to be reading the extra stuff, I don't think. Maybe, but probably not. I am actually enjoying this though. I will be so honest. The romance, it's fine. It's whatever. I think the smut's bad. I still stand by what I said about the beginning, and her reaction to him eating her pussy was like, seems really out of place in like the situation. But I am actually enjoying the plot quite a bit. I like how quickly it's moving. I like the character. She's not deep, but she's not nothing, you know, like she's not like paper thin, and honestly Vectel's not either. I do still wish we were getting more from the side characters, but they're not really on the page, and it's fine. I don't think there's really time for them to be on the page. It's such a quick moving book, and I do really appreciate that about the book. So yes, I am enjoying it. Enough to continue with the series? Probably not. I think if I liked the sex scenes more, I would continue with the series, but I just don't enjoy those, or I didn't enjoy the ones that we've gotten so far. It was kind of like one of the big reasons you probably continue the series, I imagine. I like it, I guess. I'm not totally surprised. I think I've said earlier that I thought there was a chance I would like this. I think I'm a little surprised by how much I'm liking the actual plot of it versus the smut. I thought I'd like the smut a lot more than I am. So that's the surprising bit. You know what? We also need to talk about, okay, this is spoilers. There's some spoilers. Okay, so, you know, one of my big fucking problems with Flawless is that I don't even remember his name. Rhett? Was his name Rhett? Her name was Summer. I think it was Rhett. One of his problems was that he didn't let her, like, really make decisions. But can I tell you, this man actually is letting her make decisions. So Vectel, so Georgie has maybe a chance to go home, although I'm not sure how. She wants to explore possible options, which would break his heart, and he probably couldn't go with, right? So she tells him first of all, one of the problems with Summer was that she wasn't able for a long time to vocalize that she wanted to make decisions. But so this is from Vectel's point of view. She must care something for me, she must. But she only says softly, something has to be my choice. So many things have been taken from me. I need to claim something for myself. For now, grant me that. I look up at her sad face. You know I can refuse you nothing. Her smile is sweet, sad. I know. We stan a man, we don't stan him, but we support a man who allows his partner, I guess, sure, we'll use partner, his partner to make decisions, and he's not mad about it. He's sad. I think that's fair because it's a hard decision. Yeah, major kudos. I'm invested in it now. I have 50 pages left, a little less. I am going to take a bath. I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to be done. I am very much looking forward to being done. Okay, so I don't know if I gave final thoughts on this. I'm definitely not gonna continue it. I mean, I didn't read that bonus epilogue. I didn't read the novella at the end. I didn't feel strongly about any of the characters. I didn't feel too strongly about the relationship. It was fine for the most part. The book was fine for the most part. I thought that the plot was somewhat interesting and the world building was somewhat interesting. Like, it definitely had that up on Elsie Silver. Flawless was not interesting in any of those categories. This was. I think that the pace of it really helped it along. It was action, 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 action. There was not a lot of time for thinking, which I appreciate. However, the flip side of that is that Georgie and the other women are way too comfortable with some of the things. Like, spoiler, but Georgie finds out she's like probably pregnant at the end of this, and she's pretty okay with it. She's just like, I guess this is life now. And when she tells the other women that they're gonna be like fated, basically soulmated with other members of this tribe, the women are like, okay, I guess. And I'm just like, I feel like maybe some thought was necessary. It's very jarring and weird and unrealistic that there wasn't really any tension there or concern. I'm not saying that you have to be against it or angry about it, but you just didn't really react like a human does, and I thought that was really strange. Also, the scene with the worm at the end, why did it have to be so disgusting? Why did it have to be so graphic? It was vile. I skipped it. I couldn't read because I was like, I'm gonna throw up. So not a fan of that. However, definitely better than Flawless. I think I gave it like 2.5 or 2 stars on Goodreads. I don't quite remember, but it's in that range. The 3 scales I was ranking it on, which was how cute it was, how spicy it was, and how cowboy it was. Was that what the 3 things? So cute. It wasn't really fluffy. It really wasn't. There wasn't time for it. I don't think fluffy really would have worked for this book. So there's really nothing to judge. I'll say like a 3 just to put it in the middle. I wasn't icked out by this couple. Like, it wasn't anti-fluff, you know. The smut, I thought, could have had so much more potential to be kinky. It is an alien romance. It's a monster fucker romance, and it was not kinky. So it tried to be, but it wasn't. Maybe later books go more, but this one, I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. I was kind of disappointed that it didn't go further. And then how cowboy was it? I'm gonna give it a 2 cowboy, because he kind of is. Bechtel kind of is a bit of a cowboy. I mean, he was out and about in the wilderness. He's out and about in the wilderness. Okay, no, I can't give it any cowboy. Alas, it's not really cowboy. It's super alien though. It's super alien. I think this probably is a good starting point for people interested in venturing out of typical romances, right? I think that's probably why these are so popular. But I've read some weird stuff, particularly on AO3, and this doesn't even come close to some of the stuff I've enjoyed out there. So for me, it's just not really fitting or landing, but like I said, definitely better than Flawless. So I'm going to round out this episode of Cowboy and Alien Summer with another cowboy romance. I think it's not going to be an Elsie Sulfur. That's what I'll say. It's not going to be an Elsie Sulfur. I'll probably pick it up, whatever it ends up being, next week. Some life updates. The bookcase, I know I teased it. I think actually it'll be up by now because I'm almost done editing it. So it should be up before this posts. The reorganization video, go check that out. But I'm also waiting to get the glass shelf. It was out of stock at IKEA, so I just need to make time to stop. And then when the glass shelf is there, I will show you guys the finished product. You might have seen it in the video or in the background of this video already, but that's why I just haven't taken to it. Other life updates, I have been having terrible migraines lately. I think it's my glasses prescription, which I've let go a couple years without updating. But I don't like going to the eye doctor. It's very, 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 very stressful. I am going now because these migraines have been really horrible. It's mostly when I'm staring at screens. I haven't really been able to do a lot of the video stuff that I wanted to do. But I'm hoping that'll get fixed in the next couple weeks after I go and get new glasses. The reason I'm doing a little like life update is because it's been, I don't know, a little bit since I had finished Flawless and did the last update. I've been rereading Oh, they're not in this vlog, but I have been rereading the Twilight Saga, and they are so much fun. I cannot recommend rereading them enough. They're just a blast and so enjoyable. It's really hot today. We've been in like a heat warning for the last couple days. Last time I checked, the real thrill was like 103 degrees outside. So I've been in here with the lights dimmed like this. That's been good. The AC is on, the fan is on, that fan is on. Oh, here's an update. I'm actually, this should also probably be a book or a video series or something that I do, but I was bullied into counting how many unread books I have on my shelves. And I didn't count how many read books I have on my shelves, but I would say like it's split like 50-50, because as I was going through, I would say about like half of the books on every shelf were unread. So I was bullied into counting my unread books, and right now, at this point, I have 848 unread books, which is so many more than I thought. To be honest, I didn't even think I owned 848 books. I guess I'm not really good at doing the math, because yeah, I would say about half of my collection is read, so I'm sitting at like almost 1,700 books basically, which I would not have guessed. I would have said I was still like under 1,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. I've talked before about how I like having unread books. I don't think I like having that many unread books. So there might be, I don't know, a video series coming that might be fun to do, like read it or lose it, something like that. Anyway, that's it for life updates. I'll see you guys in a few seconds when we talk about the next book I'm reading for Cowboy Summer. Cowboy and Alien Summer. So, it's done and dusted by Lila Sage. This is the one I wanted to read when I initially was like, I want to read a cowboy romance. And that's what I walked out of. But we're reading it now. I first of all love this cover. I love the vintage feel of it. I think it's so of a moment. Not necessarily this moment, but it's of a moment. Seems very thematic. The cover design and art is by Austin Drake. So Austin Drake. Love this cover. Not 100% sure what it's about. The sizzling small town brother's best friend romance. Now in a special edition with exclusive sneak peek. Okay, so this was probably, or it must have been, indie published before this. For the first time in her life, Clementine Emmy Ryder has no idea what she's doing. She's accomplished everything on her to-do list. She left her small hometown of Meadowlark, Wyoming, went to college, and made a career for herself by doing her favorite thing, riding horses. But after an accident makes it impossible for her to get back in the saddle, she's no choice but to return to the hometown she was born to escape. There are maybe horses in this book? Yay! There were like barely any horses in Flawless. What's the point of a cowboy romance then if they're not horses? Also, there was a series I loved as a kid called The Phantom Stallion. The protagonist's name was Sam. Also, and she had been in an accident and was like finally returning home after the accident, like a horse riding accident. I really enjoyed the like journey she goes through, be comfortable in the horse again, and like that healing journey. So maybe there'll be something similar in here. Luke Brooks is Meadowlark's most notorious bad boy, bar owner, and bachelor. He is also the unofficial 5th member of the Ryder family. As Emmy's older brother's best friend, Luke spent most of his childhood antagonizing her. It's been years since he's seen her, but when she walks into his bar and back into his life, he can't take his eyes off her. Against his better judgment, he wants to do a whole lot more than just look at her. I don't necessarily hate the like older brother's best friend thing. I think it can be really well done. We're gonna see if they handle it maturely, then I will enjoy it. If it becomes territorial from like the brother and weird, we won't enjoy this. I think I just really hope it doesn't have to be kept a secret, because that just feels very weird to me in this kind of situation. But it's just so close to like a friends to lovers trope, which I do love. 1 degree removed, we might say. So I'm excited. There was a little author's note at the beginning. Emmy and I don't have that much in common, but like me, Emmy has ADHD. The differences in the way our brains work can be subtle, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist or make an impact on the way we live our lives. Oh, okay. So that's going to be part of her character. I'm actually excited about that. That's exciting. I am genuinely very excited about this. This, like I said, is the book I wanted to read when I was thinking about reading a cowboy romance book. So I really hope this is good. I'm going into this with no expectations, but high hopes. And hopefully that combination, even if it's just a mediocre book, will push this over the ledge. But I will certainly let you know. So I'll just say real quick, the stakes are when I made the decision this morning to pack up my apartment, break up with my boyfriend using a post-it note on the fridge, and leave the barrel racing circuit. Woo! Girl, I support you. I also, page 4 and 5, already love her best friend. Teddy has already so much character for a side character. I'm getting good vibes from this. I'm getting good vibes from this book. But the reason I really love Teddy, so she's dragged Emmy to this bar that Emmy's like about. But Teddy goes, hey, if you really don't want to be here, then we can go. But I can't think of anything I would rather do than spend my best friend's first night home at a place we both secretly love. I love that. That's like the support we need to see from best friends that I feel like I don't see a lot. Because typically best friends, at least in the romance novels I've read, typically the best friend is just like a device used to get a character to do something or to move from like point A to point B. They're not like really looking out for the character in a way that feels realistic all the time. A lot of times it feels like they're the voice of reason, but not a realistic voice of reason. I hope that all just made sense. Editing Sam here, recording this on my laptop. I think what I was trying to say and didn't really fully realize I was saying is that typically the best friend character in a romance, while they may feel or be serving as the voice of reason, really what they're doing is they're serving as the author's insert voice, where the author is like giving the main character like an answer. And while I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, it is often, at least in the romances I have read, very overt and kind of annoying. And in this one, Teddy, while she is often the voice of reason in this book, she's actually seems like someone who deeply cares about her friend and is giving very like realistic advice that your best friend might give, where it's not just this is the advice sans like flavor, sans context. It's like, I love you and so I want you to be well, and so we're gonna go do something like we typically do, not just me saying this is the answer. I feel like I'm rambling and making it less sense, but that's what I was thinking-ish. I have been weepy lately. Page 7. Look, I have really good feelings about this book. I'm getting vibes, but I've been weepy lately, and earlier this week I genuinely like just saw a picture of Princess Diana and started crying. So like that's the level of weepy I've been. But the fact that like I do love the way that she can just turn to her best friend, and her best friend is like ride or die support. It comes across very genuinely in this book, and it is making me like weepy. Page 7, flawless could never. Also, okay, this is, I guess this episode 1 of Cowboy Summer is low-key a flawless bash video more than anything, because can I just say already there's been more description of locations in this book than I think ever existed in Flawless in its entirety. Just the description, we get a page description of this dive bar, the Devil's Boot, and I can picture what it looks like. Like, I've got a sense of the place, and I agree with this statement. Everything felt more mystifying bathed in neon. Hell yeah. Anyway, this is the cow. This, oh god, please don't get bad. I'm really just like recording this intro through the meet cute, because I want to see how I feel about them. I guess it's not a meet cute because she knows him. He's her brother's best friend. But the, I guess, initial meeting in this story, we're going to call it a meet cute. That's not what it is. Remeet cute. Reheated cute. No. Okay, this is genuinely funny. So the band is playing Good Hearted woman, and then it's like record scratch. It's live music, so it's not a record scratch. But then they started playing Oh My, I think it's live music anyway. Oh My Darling Clementine starts playing because someone is like trying to bother her. But I dig that. I think that's cute. I'm guessing it's the love interest. I do find that quite charming and funny. This feels so much more like a small town than the one in fucking Flawless did. This is giving already 13 pages in, and it is giving me everything I wanted. I was right to think this is the cowboy romance I wanted. There we go. We got the really cute. And then okay, I'll record. Also, I just now realized I did vertical instead of horizontal. Well, now and I did it upside down. Oh wow. Well, I'm gonna deal with it and like try not to cringe when I'm editing. I'm so sorry. I was realizing I did it in vertical and not horizontal. But now we have a chapter from the male main character, the love interest, and I'll record through that to give you my opinion. And then I'm gonna turn the camera off because I would like to just like settle in and read for probably a long time. I will. Okay, he's doing that cringy thing. I'm trying to think if in any of the like queer romances I've read, if they've ever done this. They must have, but I guess there's just something particularly off-putting to me about a man thinking about a woman in this way as like an instinctual thought, which is he is like, holy hell, had she always looked like that? It made me wonder how she'd look wrapped up in bed sheets, but not just any bed sheets, my bed sheets. There's something very creepy to me about those being some of a man's first line of thought when thinking about a woman. Maybe it's like the power dynamic. I don't know, but that he is doing that. I'm not gonna like dock him points yet because I know that's a very typical romance novel type thing to do. I'm just not personally a fan. Okay, well, we're giving him some credit because he also likes Teddy, the best friend. He says, I'm guessing Gus and Teddy are a romantic pairing in a different book. Gus always thought Teddy was too much, too loud, too vulgar, and too much trouble. But I, Luke, liked her. She'd always been a good friend to Emmy. What a good reason to like someone. Ooh. Teddy's superiority, first of all, and just the fact that a best friend is being written well is like also just, why is this so exciting? Flawless really fucked me up. I feel like yeah, best friends just don't, even when they're getting a novel later, just don't hit. But besides that first thought, this is a very rational thought to have about a person, and I am supporting it. It is live music, I was right. Fiddleback. Is that like a Nickelback reference? Probably not. I can also appreciate that he seems to understand he had creepy thoughts and wishes he didn't. But I mean, man, I know you can't really control your thoughts, but you can stop them before they go as far as his did. Okay, so Kenny, this dude she's flirting at, she has a history with from high school, and he dumped her, I guess. Now that piece of shit had one of his hands on Emmy, and she was smiling at him. So I did what Gus and Wes would have wanted me to do. That's her brothers. I got his grimy little hands off her. That's the only reason I did it. For Gus and Wes, not for me. That made me smile. It's cute. I wasn't fucking jealous. Okay. Oh, okay. And then it switches back to Emmy's point of view. But I'm gonna turn the camera off, and so I can like, not stay in this location. I don't know. I'm enjoying it so far. I think with Flawless, I almost knew right off the bat that I didn't like it. I wasn't enjoying it. The reverse is happening here, so I'm excited. So I realized there is something a little strange, which is just that it's not like the formatting. I'm totally blanking on what it's called. Oh my god. Adjusted? No, that's not right. But typically like block text is like they end in like this, right? Like you see how it's a straight line. These don't, and it actually is throwing me off a little bit. Also, there have been a couple moments so far that have been a little cringe, but because it's well written cringe, I actually find myself like typically smiling or laughing at it.
And that's the difference between a well-written romance and a badly written romance. Or I should say a romance that just... And that's the difference between a well-written romance and a poorly written one. The cringe is actually kind of giggly, funny in a well-written one.
Page 96. It is Sunday. It is only 10:30, and I think I've gotten everything accomplished that I needed to accomplish today, minus maybe some work on editing this video, actually. And I do have plans to call a friend, but I'm kind of hoping I'll be able to finish reading this today. I kind of think that'll be the plan. Unlike the other books I've read for this challenge so far, there's really not that much bonus content in the end, so it's like full-length novel. That's going to be the goal for today. See if I can finish it. Now, just about 100 pages in, I'm enjoying it. It's cute. It's definitely, of the three, I can tell you right now, it is the best of the three that I have read for this so far. But I also don't have that much to say about it yet. It's cute, but I'm not really getting more than that. It keeps like almost going there, but there are like not like big time skips, but there's gaps between chapters, which I actually do appreciate, because I think you have to build the characters and build setting in that way, which is one of the issues I had with Flawless, is it was like, or you didn't know when time was passing. But this is almost like relying on it too much. We are only 100 pages in. It is only about 300 pages long. So we're hitting about a third. I'm guessing about now is when it is going to hit its stride, but I'm going to tuck in and do some reading for, I don't know, maybe half an hour, and then see if there's anything else I forgot I needed to do. And then I'll check in like every 50 pages or so. I really think it would be great to finish this today. I'd feel very fulfilled if I did accomplish that. I do think at this point, this is the only one I am interested in maybe continuing the series of, and like keeping my copy of. I've unhauled and sold back the other two books I've read for this challenge so far. So this man, Luke Brooks, low-key giving Luke Danes energy. I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know if it's just because he was wearing a backwards baseball cap and I was like, I know who that reminds me of. But I don't hate it. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if he continues to give that. Please excuse all my terrible acne. I've been breaking out just so badly lately. So, I'm on page 151, chapter 13. We are halfway through the book, and the thing is, it being the best of the two cowboy romances I've actually read, and the best of the three books I've read for this video so far, is like almost, I think, giving it more credit than it deserves. It is fun, it is cute, and it is well written, but it's not like making me emote. I still really like Teddy. I do, depending on how this book goes, I wouldn't be opposed to like continuing the series, especially to get to Teddy's book, because I do think her book will make me feel things. But as cute as this couple is, and as like well adjusted as these people are, and as much as I'm like rooting for them mentally, emotionally, I just don't feel a particular connection to either of them. And I was realizing that as I was reading. It's better than the other two books, and I would even say it's good, but it's just not hitting the things I like in a romance. It's not grabbing my heartstrings at all. So that is just something I'm realizing. But it's good. I'm not mad I'm reading it. Again, if the ending is solid, I probably will continue the series because it's not bad. And there's going to be, I think, a TV series based off of it, which I'm excited because I really hope they lean more into the like small town element. I want to see more of Meadowlark, the town. I would really like this. It's definitely giving Hallmark Channel movies, but before they went like in the direction of like every Hallmark Channel movie knows it's a Hallmark Channel movie. Like before that, it's giving those vibes, and I am enjoying that about it. So I'm gonna continue. I do really think there's a chance I finish it today. It takes me half an hour to read 50 pages, so there's like 150 pages left. That's like an hour and a half left of reading. I could definitely, and really, really hope I finish this today. I'll be disappointed in myself if I don't. Of the books as well, this is probably feels the quickest as I'm reading. Flawless was such a slog. And Ice Planet Barbarians, I just had to keep walking away from, but this one, I'm glad I'm able to read it quickly, because I do think that if I had no momentum to read it and walked away for like a week, I would not want to pick it up. You love this. This is not how I picture either of these characters, by the way. Emmy maybe a little bit, but not Luke. I don't know why. Well, he's also always wearing muscle tees, and he's like cut the sleeves off, so this is not really an accurate representation. Also, he just looks a bit older here than I picture him. Although I think they are old. They're not like younger. I think she's in her late 20s. I could be wrong about that, but she was professional barrel racing. Update on her like trauma though, because I said I was kind of interested in how that's handled. And the horses, there's so many horses. I'm a big fan of that. Every time there's a horse on the page, I am locked in. Flawless could fucking never. But I'm locked in every time the horses are on the page. And I really enjoy that. And her dealing with the trauma of her accident, I am enjoying that storyline, but it's really not getting that much page time comparatively. So I had a 3-hour phone call with my friend, which was great because I haven't talked to her in a while. Then I had dinner, and now it is like almost 8 o'clock, and I am still on page 164, so I may not actually finish it today. It'll be this week for sure if I don't, but I have recently got for my phone an app that locks it down and prevents me from being able to go on most apps, and I could choose which apps to keep. It says like my messages, because that's never really distracting. Music, GPS, stuff I would basically need in an emergency, because I basically want this app to be on most of the time. Locking me out of like social media and stuff, because I have a computer, I can do that, and I just feel like I spend so much time scrolling. But anyway, it is right now on, so I have it on for 2 hours, and then I'll probably keep it off for the rest of the night. But I am going to try to get as much reading of this done in 2 hours, and maybe I could finish it. I think it's a chance, but I think there's also a chance I'll get distracted and wander away. But so yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, but I'm still gonna try, but I'm probably not going to. That's the update. Oh, the actual update though, they had their first kiss. Again, I'm not like particularly invested in them as a couple, but I do like them as characters, and it was a good first kiss. It was cute, and I'm really excited to see where the relationship goes. I think this is the first one of the 3 they've read so far that I'm like, yeah, where does this go? How does it pan out? I want to see your happy ever after. I'm excited. I may not be emotionally invested, but I'm excited for you. He was wearing denim on denim. What an asshole. Maybe the funniest line. They're at the bar hooking up, and I'm not enjoying this. Page 236, and he like I do not like this. It's giving the ick. He drank or like took a swig of whiskey and then like spit it in her mouth. Not a fan. Also, no offense, but they're like, she was at the bar because she was celebrating Teddy's birthday, and now she's fucking Luke in his office. And if it was my birthday and my friend went to go hook up with the guy at my birthday party celebration, I would actually probably be pissed. Like, good for Teddy, because she's like very supportive of this, but genuinely I think it's kind of rude. And I really think the only reason Teddy is okay with this is because it's a romance novel, and that's like ultimately the goal. And Teddy is a good friend, too good of a friend. She's not getting mad that this is happening at her birthday party. Oh, I would be so mad. I will say this is the first of the books I've read for this to actually make me like smile. It's cute. It's like I think
well, her family to find out that she's been seeing him, but it made me feel like cozy and happy inside, so kudos.
I'll probably film a proper wrap up to this video after I finish editing everything, but I did finish reading Done and Dusted today, and I mean, easy. This is easily my favorite book I've read so far for Cowboy Summer. Easily. It is cute, it's nuanced, it doesn't go as deep into the characters' journeys as I would have liked. I think I mentioned that I was looking forward to seeing the kind of healing journey Emmy would go on after recovering from this accident, but while that is a through line, it's not particularly compelling as a through line. The relationship is the most compelling part of it, which is, you know, it's a romance, that's kind of the point. I liked the side characters a lot. I think of all 3 of the books that I've read so far for this is the only one that actually has interesting side characters that make me go, I do want to see what happens. So I do think I will be continuing on with the series, or at least giving the next book a try to see if the magic can sustain. And not even that, but I feel like the first book in a series is sometimes the weakest, because you're building it up with the most familiar tropes to really get the reader in, and then once you get them in and invested in this world, I guess it's not exactly a new world since it's a contemporary romance, but you know what I'm saying, this setting that you've built, you can then kind of have more fun. So I'm hoping that that's what we see. The second book, I think, is about Wes, who doesn't get a lot of screen time in this one, but he seemed very golden retriever energy. The writing was easily the best of the 3 as well. Again, it's compelling, it was interesting, it was nuanced, the characters were not flat. I wouldn't say they're the deepest people ever, but they're not flat. And people actually acted like people. They were very normal about things, which feels like it should be the bare minimum. Moments that I think would have been cringy in a less well-written book were kind of cute. Like, it was cringy, but in like a cute way. It was also, I think I mentioned it, the only book so far of these 3 to make me actually like feel kind of giggly inside. I wouldn't say I'm the most invested of like every romance relationship that I've read them, but they feel realistic. I feel like they would stick together, and I wasn't not invested in them. So on the scale of Cowboy, I would say 4 out of 5. How was I rating this? 4 out of 5, because she is far more cowboy than him in my opinion, but there's a lot of horse stuff going on. I'm guessing the next book with Wes will be even more cowboy, but I could be wrong. But this is definitely very, very cowboy. It just is still kind of just too it's not 5-star cowboy. It's a little cowboy adjacent. Would have loved, I think, the barrel light racing from Emmy's perspective, and I would have liked some of the horse riding lessons from his perspective. I don't think we got any from his perspective, which was interesting. The smut, I'm gonna give it like a 3. It was definitely the best of the books, but it didn't tickle my particular fancy. I didn't really get much out of the smut scenes. They just weren't written for me, which normally I'd be like, objectively, but it's good. But it is a romance book, so you're reading it to get something out of those kinds of scenes as well if you're reading a smutty romance. So we're going to give it a 3. And what was it? The cute stuff? I would give that a 4 as well. Again, it could have been a little cuter. It wasn't like quite in the 5-star cute territory, but it had a lot of really cute moments. I loved them together. I think they're the kind of couple in a romance novel that there's no doubt that they would stick together post-romance. They both really stand up for each other and support one another and see each other. And even when they're like protective or jealous of the other person, it's not to an unhealthy degree. They also just have a lot of small moments together that make me think, that really makes me realize like how much chemistry they have on page. And I kept comparing this to Flawless while I was reading it. Like mentally I'd be like, that couple was so frustrating and unlikable, and a scene that for them really just doesn't works really well for Emmy and Luke. I am going to try book 2. I am going to keep this. I don't think it's going to be a book that I keep on my main bookcase. I'll probably put it in storage. I could definitely see myself returning to this in like 5 years, or if it does become a TV series, rereading it, or if later books in the series are really good. I've heard that the 4th reviewer I trust
had read it. I didn't know she'd read it, but she read it and she loved it, and she said it was very emotionally fulfilling. So I'm gonna hope that the series continues to be emotionally fulfilling. Though I'm not gonna commit to the series. I will commit to book 2. So yeah, like I said, I will film a full wrap up conclusion part to this video, which you'll see in a moment. But this has been fun. I'm gonna take a tiny break from romances and I think film a classics vlog of some sort, because I've been really craving a classic. I'm thinking it could be either Hunchback of Notre Dame or some sort of randomly chosen book. I'm not certain yet. You'll obviously see that, but it'll be posted after this one. But yeah, I'm taking a small break from the romances. I need something a little more that I can sink my teeth into. This video has definitely been long enough already. I just finished editing it and it has come out to 1 hour and 34 minutes of me talking about only 3 books. So thank you so much if you stuck around this long. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys. I'm hoping to get into more longer form vloggy content. I don't think they'll all be this long, but if you liked this, then they will all be this long. I will do whatever you guys like best. But seriously, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for just hanging out. I know uploads have been sporadic. That should be fixed soon. I'm making YouTube a priority again. If you're not already subscribed, I would really appreciate it. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, which is super exciting. And if there's any particular content you'd be interested in, please leave a comment. Or if you've read any of these books and want to talk about it, please leave a comment. You can absolutely try to convince me to continue reading either the Flawless series, whatever that's called, or the Ice Planet Barbarian series. You can try. You will fail, but I would love to have a pitch. If you loved either of those, like why you loved them, because I didn't. Obviously, if you did love it, I'm very happy for you, and I hope I didn't like yuck your yum. Those 2 were not for me. Those 2 were not for me. I will see you guys really soon. Bye.